We heartfully welcome revered Daaji on the evening session of his 69th birthday. We also respectfully welcome Pandit Santosh Sant Ji and his accompanying artists. Music transcends language, culture, and time. It has the ability to heal and uplift souls to the divine. And a musician is like a painter using different shades of notes to create a masterpiece. Today, we are delighted to present on this joyful occasion a Hindustani classical flute recital by such an artist, the widely celebrated exponent of the flute, Pandit Santosh Sant Ji. Pandit Santosh Sant is a well-known senior disciple of the living legend of flute, Padma Vibhushan, Pandit Hari Prasad Chaurasia Ji. Being born into a family where music was a natural way of life, his father, late Pandit Vasant Rao Sant, a well-known vocalist from the ancient Gwalior Gharana, imparted the initial training in music. With this foundation of musical impressions from his father, he then continued his music training under Pandit Shri Ram Umedkar Ji, a well-known sitar artist of Gwalior. A quest to learn the intricate nuances and subtle depths of the flute brought him to the feet of Pandit Hari Prasad Chaurasia, who accepted him as his Ganda Bandh disciple. He went on to become one of his leading disciples and mastered the fine art perfected by his guru. Pandit Santosh Sant presents an interesting blend of tradition and modernity through his flute. As a disciple of Pandit Hari Prasad Chaurasia, Pandit Ji follows his guru with the disciplined training he has undergone and observed in many ways. He is a contemporary Indian flautist, both in his attempts to master the complex world of ragadari music and through his cross-cultural collaborations. Pandit Ji is the founder-director of Swarna Venu Gurukul, an institution of the flute at Indore in Madhya Pradesh that propagates the rich tradition of the Indian bamboo flute through the Guru Shishya Parampara. He has performed in the most prestigious musical festivals in India and overseas. A recipient of a gold medal by the Department of Culture, he has also been honored with the titles Abhinav Kala Samman, Surdas Samman, Surmani, Venushri, and Pandit Bhim Sen Joshi National Award, among many others. We are honored to welcome you to this evening at Kanha Shanti Vanam. We also welcome Pandit Anutosh Degharia Ji, accompanying Pandit Ji on the tabla, and Kumari Harshita Giri on the flute. We invite Pandit Santosh Sant Ji to now present his musical offering.
This one I need. Hello.
इतना प्रेम सिर्फ मेरे गुरु पंडित हरिप्रसाद चौरसिया और दाजी, ये दो लोगों से मुझे एकदम अचानक मिला। जब दाजी ने अपने थाली में से मुझे प्रसाद के रूप में अपनी रोटी का एक टुकड़ा मुझे जब दिया भुवनेश्वर में, अभी की बात है, 15 दिन पहले की, मैं मेस्मराइज हो गया। मुझे पता नहीं चला कि ये क्या चमत्कार हो गया। दाजी आपका आशीर्वाद है। और मैं खींचा चला आया, मैं मैग्नेट की तरह। मैं एक भी दिन उसके बाद में मेरा ऐसा गया नहीं हूँ कि जब मैंने आपके आशीर्वचन न सुने हो। एक भी दिन मेरा जाता नहीं है। बस इतना कृपा आपकी बनी रहे मेरे पे, और मैं ऐसा ही आपसे अटैच रहूं, बस यही चाहता हूं मैं। आपके चरणों में वंदन है। शाम का समय है, थोड़ा राग यमन छेड़ता हूं। थैंक यू। थोड़ा सा मॉनिटर कम कर दीजिए और थोड़ा रिवर्ब भी कम कीजिए। रिवर्ब कम करिए। धन्यवाद। खाने के बाद थोड़ी सी मिठाई खिलाऊंगा, जरा सी, तो वो मुंह मीठा करके मैं बंद करूंगा, मुंह मीठा करवा के आपका। हमारे एक बहुत गुणी मित्र हैं, जयपुर में रहते हैं, उस्ताद अहमद हुसैन, उस्ताद मोहम्मद हुसैन। शायद दाजी ने सुना हो या आप लोगों ने सुना हो। उन्होंने कंपोजिशन बनाई गज़ल, मौसम आएंगे जाएंगे, और वो पहाड़ी में है। तो मेरे इतने अजीज़ हैं, मुझे इतना प्यार करते हैं, तो मैं उनको एक ट्रिब्यूट करके कि भाई वो मौसम आएंगे जाएंगे, मौसम आएंगे जाएंगे, इसको मैंने बेस बना के लिया है। राग है पहाड़ी, कितनी अच्छी अच्छी कंपोजिशंस है, रहा नहीं जाता है। पहचाना होगा शायद, रंगी साड़ी गुलाबी चुनरिया। ऐसा भक्ति रस फैलाया है यहाँ कि कृष्ण कैसे छुप सकता है, वो यहीं बैठा होगा, यहीं पे बैठा होगा। और मैं तो दाजी के रूप में ही देख रहा हूँ उनको, कृष्ण को यहाँ देख रहा हूँ, और हम उनका वाद्य बजा रहे हैं, और मेरे गुरु का भी नाम हरि है। तो ऐसा कॉम्बिनेशन आ गई है, तो थोड़ा और इजी कर देता हूं जो सब लोगों ने सुना हो। सुनाई नहीं। अरे ये क्या, दाजी क्यों उठ रहे?
Thank you, Pandit Santosh ji, for this mesmerizing.
थैंक यू, पर आपको उठना नहीं, आपको उठने की जरूरत नहीं। आप एक और आप नहीं जाओगे। नहीं आप उठ के आए हैं। मुझे आपके वो माइक, हाँ, दाजी का इतना प्रेम मिल रहा है तो मैं क्या बताऊं, अब मैं कुछ बता नहीं सकता। दुर्गा, क्योंकि दुर्गा अभी नवरात्रि भी आने वाली है, उनकी इच्छा है कि मैं दुर्गा बजाऊं थोड़ा सा, तो राग दुर्गा बजाता हूं। और ख़ास तौर से दाजी, मैं आपको कहना चाहूँगा कि आज मैं सबको याद कर रहा हूँ, हमारे बड़े बुजुर्ग, हमारे उस्ताद बिस्मिल्लाह खां साहब, उनको एक ट्रिब्यूट में देना चाहता हूँ। जो उन्होंने दुर्गा में एक बहुत प्रचलित बंदिश बजाई, वो मैं आज बजाना चाहता हूँ, राग दुर्गा की उस्ताद बिस्मिल्लाह खां साहब की बंदिश। 3 ताल, 3 ताल। एक ही होता है। मेरे गुरुजी पंडित हरिप्रसाद चौरसिया कहते हैं कि जिसका जिससे ले सको, जिसका गुणीजनों से जितना म्यूजिक ले सकें हम लेते हैं, लेना चाहिए हमें, और उसका फिर अपना एक गुलदस्ता बनाना चाहिए। तो आज उस्ताद बिस्मिल्लाह साहब की पता नहीं क्यों याद आ रही है, बिस्मिल्लाह खां साहब की, तो उनकी इतनी खूबसूरत बंदिश ये बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद दाजी आपका।
With the grace of the Masters and revered Daaji's guidance, the Heartfulness movement is expanding across the globe, spreading its roots and blossoming in several countries of the world. We are delighted to share with all the joyful expansion of heartfulness in Korea. In the land deeply rooted in tradition and at the same time at the forefront of modern technological advancement, the Heartfulness movement has come as a beacon of light for sincere seeking souls. Let us now watch a short video on the inspiring development of heartfulness in Korea.
Korea is a land rich in history and culture. From ancient palaces and serene temples to bustling markets and stunning landscapes, Korea seamlessly blends the past with the present. It is no wonder that more and more people in Korea are exploring heartfulness, a modern approach to an ancient meditation practice. The first heartfulness trainer in Korea was S. Lakshmipati Rao in 2005, and another heartfulness trainer, Craig Davis, moved there in 2007. However, there were only a few heartfulness practitioners in Korea till January 2023, when Dr. Moon became the first Korean national to become a heartfulness trainer. For Dr. Moon, it was a true calling from Daaji, the heartfulness guide. Since then, Dr. Moon has introduced heartfulness to many more people. On September 28, 2023, 31 heartfulness trainers were prepared at Kanha Shanti Vanam. And as of September 2024, 68 trainers and 100 practitioners are practicing heartfulness together in Korea. An important landmark was reached on April 13th, 2024, when the Heartfulness Meditation Institute of Korea was inaugurated. This beautiful Heartfulness Center is regularly conducting activities and engaging with the community. On the 9th of October 2024, the official website will open for more people to access Heartfulness online. Heartfulness Korea is now establishing organized teams for translations, media, community service, heartfulness education offerings, and brighter minds. The education team conducts sessions every Saturday covering topics like yoga philosophy, heartfulness training, and Q&A sessions. The community service group is introducing heartfulness on a regional basis and hosting sessions in 5 regions at present, and will be expanding to other regions as well. as an introductory program for the general public, a masterclass called Meditation School has been launched. The translation team has translated and published the Simple Heartfulness Practices, the Sehaj Marg Practice, the Heartfulness Way, and the Designing Destiny book so far. Spiritual Anatomy will be published in Korean in 2025. The media team has added Korean subtitles to many of the Heartfulness YouTube videos. Writer Minds programs are also planned for young students. This progress has largely been made in the last 1.5 years. When Dr. Moon was asked how this was achieved, she replied, "All these inspirations come from Daaji. We just do our best to follow his guidance, listen carefully, and implement it. We are only following the path that Daaji has laid out. Everything comes from the transmission. Keeping a connection with constant remembrance is the secret to spiritual progress."
Sister Sniti Mishra has had a few questions to ask to beloved Daaji. We are now very happy that Sister Sniti will come to the dais and revered Daaji will be answering a few of her questions.
Pranam Daaji, Pranam sir, Pranam ma'am. There's one question I would like to ask to Daaji. That is the soul eternal? And if so, what happens to it after death?
The very fact and the definition that the soul is eternal, it is true. Before we incarnated in this life, we had our previous existence in the form of soul, and after our death in this life, we'll also continue onward to our future journey wherever it takes us. What really happens after death? We all have been puzzled and we keep asking this question, and Babuji Maharaj very humorously used to answer. He says, "I am still alive." I will tell you what happens after that later on. Well, that was his style of diffusing the question. We smile, we laugh and forget the question, only to remember the question was unanswered. But when we go through these books by Lalaji Maharaj, and he described the process of death, but that is all about what happens at the moment of death, where he suggests that, as soul decides to leave the body, contraction or the dissolution starts from the basal chakra, Muladhara. The elements there gets dissolved, reaches to Swadhisthana. There the water elements gets dissolved, and now soul moves upward to Manipur chakra, where the fire elements gets dissolved, further to the heart chakra, Anahat, which is a combination of these five, dominated with air element. And then finally, if you are already liberated, as like Raja Janak, Jivan Mukt, then the soul will depart from Brahmarandra chakra. Well, this is the process of what happens at the moment of death in brief. One day I experimented many years back, I would say in 87 or 88, how this withdrawal happens. And the whole energy started moving from toe upwards and upward, further up, dissolving one chakra by another chakra. I was about to leave, and suddenly I was thrown back. And Babuji has promised that what happens to soul after death, he answers that also after reaching the brighter world. He conveys like this, that depending upon the vibratory level of the soul, it reaches out to the corresponding vibratory level in the hereafter. If the soul is pure, and let us see if it has X potency of purity. That purity should match with that dimension in which it is going or going to reside. It can never be a case of mismatch. If the soul is burdened with samskars, it is recycled so that samskars can be removed in the next birth. It is like a child who has failed an exam in the 5th grade or in the first year of college. We have to repeat the class because we have failed. Something similar happens if we fail in our duty towards ourselves. If soul has not attained that level of purity and simplicity, that it first descended with that intention, that purpose, if that is not fulfilled, after death it is recycled. That's what we call reincarnation, life after life. It continues ad nauseum until we find a guide like Babuji Maharaj who can help us escape out of this. But again, he puts it very nicely. Where will you go anyway? In true freedom, rather with true freedom, in a state of liberation, you are free in the sense, if you want to come back for a purpose, you will return. If you don't want to come back, you have that choice also, because now you have that freedom. You have earned that freedom. So, idea is to establish ourselves with utmost purity and simplicity. And that happens very simply by authentic lifestyle. We cannot fake it. This morning there was a discussion about, informal discussion with some abhyasis. They had this idea that at the moment of death, if you remember Lord Narayana, you might reach the abode of Lord Narayana. You cannot cheat nature. You may think of Narayana, but what if your son's name is Narayana? You're fooling yourself. Just by thinking of God, automatically you don't become divine. Just by thinking of master, you don't become masterly. Though constant remembrance has a tremendous significance on our path. But remember what Lalaji said. There are 3 types of Pashus. One is a Guru Pashu. Second is Pashu because of constant remembrance. And third Pashu is Shastra. And now we have to understand what Pashu is. In Hindi, Sanskrit, Pashu means a Januar, one that is tied up on a pole. Animal that is tied up on a pole, that is Pashu. If we are tied up to a Guru, if we are tied up to constant remembrance, if we are tied up to Shastras, you are still tied up. You cannot use these three things as utility. It must come out of love. Utilitarian aspect of these three can be very dangerous. Utilitarian aspect of reciting Lord Rama or Krishna or Narayana at the moment of death cannot grant us liberation. You cannot fake it. Either I have that magnetic pull within myself to attract the divine grace or not. That magnetic pull is decided by my being, my spiritual being, my state of vibrations. And that's why we do every single day the evening cleaning to become pure and simple. To the extent that my whole body becomes a temple of God. Then I don't have to go after death towards God. God would descend in our heart. That's the beauty of Sahaj Marg. Please take it seriously, practice seriously. Such a path has never existed in the past. And I wonder how long this gift of transmission will continue or will go on and on. It depends on how we run this flagship in our life. Success or failure of humanity moving towards spirituality depends largely on our shoulders. We have to become very serious, authentic practitioners, that we truly want to move towards spirituality and become divine. That should be our goal. And it should be very passionate goal. It should not become lukewarm. You want to have intense experience, practice intensely. You want to experience death before dying, that is also possible. No amount of talk can help us understand what happens after death. You can experience it while alive. See what happens. There is a beautiful quote, not exact, but I'll paraphrasing it, by Rumi. He says, when I was earth, mere mineral and absorbed by plant and trees, I evolved to become plant and trees. When I was extinguished by animals, I was devoured by them. Now I became free from static plant life to moving animal life, could fly like a bird. Then, when I was devoured by human, I became human. And then he puts a question, where have I lost by dying? He did not go further, but I like to extend beyond Rumi and say, when I die in this life, before death, what can I become? Babaji says you can become angels. You can become angelic. You can become divine. And when that too dies, I leave that questions to you to have your own solution. But it's very easy. Practice, practice, and practice.
Thank you, Daaji. Another question is, do we create our own destiny or it is predetermined?
Well, no one is there to decide, giving us the direction. this way or that way. We have created our own destiny. We continue to create our own destiny. We were created with a plan. Earlier you posed the question that soul is eternal. If soul is eternal and the purest, what can you add to that purity? If the soul has to return back to the source with the same purity, then it becomes a childish game, a joke by God on all manifested world. If you are created with certain purity and we have to return back with the same purity, where is the fun in it? But we are not even able to return with the same level of purity. I had a profound understanding once that it is precisely because we have to increase the potency of our soul. And the only example that came to my mind was when my father sent me out of the house and earned money. Let us see if your father gives you $100 or 1 lakh rupees, sends you out, bete, do the business and come back. After 10 years, you come back and say, here is 1 lakh rupee. What is so great about it? At the rate of inflation, given 1 lakh and giving back 1 lakh after 10 years, it's a losing battle. You have to invest it and allow it to multiply. Maybe you can make crores. That is the wish of any father. God is no less. Guru is no less. When they sow the seed of purity in us, or certain potency in us, the seed has to become a tree, flower it, produce the fruits, produce the seeds in billions. One seed must produce billions of seeds. Otherwise nature would fail, God would fail, Guru would fail. So the idea is to grow infinitely. Babuji was once asked a question in Europe, why do you want more and more abhyasis in your mission? I mean, you wonder what answers would Babuji give at that moment. But he said very plainly, we come from infinity. And I like to see infinity in front of me, not just one abhyasi or 2 abhyasis. And same principle, we undergo the same principle even in the material world. Why nobody is able to circumvent that if I make 1 crore, I'm inspired, motivated to make even more, and there is nothing wrong with it. We have been misled that you should have detachment from money. No way. If you have the ability to make 1 crore, make 1, make 5, make 10 if you can. Honest means and right understanding in spending. Spend it wisely. If good people don't make money, if good people don't go into politics, then bad one will go. You are leaving the opportunity of making money in the hands of bad ones. You are leaving the opportunity of running this government, our country, in the hands of the people the way they are. Good people should not move away from doing what is justifiable. We should not be afraid of entering into politics. We should not be afraid of making money, because in the hands of bad politicians and bad people who make money, society will always be ruined. we have to be careful. My request to youngsters, enter the politics, be a spiritual politician, be a spiritual materialist. There is absolutely nothing wrong with it. And wherever there is dharma, there is Kanha. Remember.
Thank you so much, Daaji. Last question I would like to ask. Can we alter our destiny through spiritual practices and personal growth?
Definitely. Thank you for reminding the same question, because I could not answer it earlier. You posed whether it is our free will or someone decides. No one decides. I make my own destiny. Sometimes my destiny is also not in my hand. There are circumstances where we are affected by the decisions made by our parents, for example. Suppose you are in love with someone and you are a Brahmin girl and you fall in love with a Christian boy. Your father and mother will go crazy. What happened to Sniti? They will force you, they will blackmail you. They will say, if you marry that guy who has nothing in his pocket, I will commit suicide. That is the ultimate blackmail by mothers and fathers. So what happens to Sniti's destiny then? It is influenced by parents. They can change your destiny. I give another really good example from Mahabharata and from Ramayana actually, from Ramayana. We know Lord Sri Ramchandra ji, he was Avatar Purush. Mother Sita, she was also an Avatar Purush. Avatar Ma. They did not have previous sanskars. That means the seeds of destiny were not there. They did not come with it, but they came with a plan. But their life that was meant to be so happy, harmonious, as predicted by one of the Sept rishis, Rishi Vasishtha, and also by Vishwamitra, that this couple is the best couple. Their life will be the happiest of all. But you see, no less than a person like Mother Kaikeyi, influenced by Manthara, changed their destiny. So anyone can change your destiny. Terrorists blowing the planes, they can also change your destiny. I can also be inspired by people like yourself, for example. If people who love music, they say, oh, I would also like to do that. These are indirect things, but the main destiny that for which we are all here, we have the free will to move in that direction. The purpose is to merge with the source, with the greater wealth, greater potency than we came with. Leave this world far more purer and better than we came with. Satisfaction and other things are like indicators. They are not the goals of life, that to be happy and satisfied and peaceful. These are all parameters that when we do good things, heart feels happy and contented. So we are motivated to do more and more good things. If you are succumbed to a certain disease, infectious disease, your temperature go up, you get fever, it's an indicator that something is wrong with you. Avoid that. Likewise, happiness, contentment, being compassionate, these are all indicators of my own spiritual growth. More I grow, these indicators will always be in multiplication. Whenever my heart is at peace and in contentment, means you are doing the right thing. When heart becomes heavier, it's an indication, don't do it. So we are the ones who create our own destiny. In final analysis of both Mahabharata and Ramayana, it is the arrogance of elders that created both Ramayana and Mahabharata. Arrogance of Raja Dasharath. प्राण जाए लेकिन वचन नहीं जाए से, प्राण जाए बट वचन न जाए। ये बहुत बड़ा गर्व अभिमान है, घमंड है। बीबी को बोल सकता था, बेवकूफ तू चुप रह, तेरी मांग गलत है, लेकिन घमंड उसको रोक दिया। जैसे बोलते हैं henpecked husbands. On the other side, in Mahabharata, it was Bhishma. His arrogance, I have taken an oath to protect Hastinapur. If he really wanted to protect, he could have gone with the right people. Little wisdom was required, but they were so adamant. Today we laugh at them, because after many years, 7,000 years in the passing, we have realized that this arrogance is the biggest problem. In spirituality also, between myself and God, thing that prevents us is only my arrogance, my pride, myself. And Babuji has said it's easy to transcend your desires. There are only 5 circles, 5 veils, Panchabhutas. But to transcend the ego, there are 11 paradas, 11 curtains, 11 hidden chakras as we call it. They're very difficult. But in one stroke we can remove them. Die before you die. Living dead. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Daaji.